In today's news, Top Cop expresses concerns about police officers during the COI hearing.
We also see the Whistleblower Act finally passing in the House of Assembly. Of course, this aims to protect persons from victimization here in the BVI.
And after breaking the story on our agency, police recognized ESHS student for efforts in helping elderly man to cross the road.
And finally, government launches a COVID-19 income support program for eligible persons affected by the pandemic. This, of course, is for persons who could not cash in from the stimulus program that we had previously. So we have all the details for that and so much more when 284 News returns. Stick with us.
The wait is over. CCT Fire is here. Experience ultra-fast downloads, seamless streaming, and even more reliable connectivity on an all-new fire-blazing super-fast CCT Fiber network. CCT Fire. Bring it home and upgrade today. The win.
What in the hell?
I'm freaking out.
Is about these people.
It's always a pleasure coming to you live and direct from the
What's poppin'? What's really good?
Davis has won it for the Lakers.
Welcome everybody. It's Thursday, June 24th, 2021. A terrific Thursday coming to you live and direct from Roadtown, Tortola in the beautiful British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And my name is Javon Wilson. Always a pleasure, of course, to join you for our daily newscast, local, regional, as well as international content at your fingertips. Now, today, lots going on, but beginning with some good news. Well, remember the senior school student who, of course, from Elmhurst High School, who recently went viral on 284 Media for assisting that elderly man across the road just at the intersection there by Red Cross? Well, her name is Swellen Charles, and she was recently recognized by the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, by their community policing officers, John and Edwards, of course, for her display of what they're calling hashtag community spirit towards a vulnerable member of the community. I think such a deserving accomplishment.
Yes.
And again, testament to the good that exists within our community, beginning at the level of our children. I'm just so happy to see this.
Absolutely good news to start off our newscast. Continuing on, of course, Top Cop concerned about some officers' honesty and business conflicts. We're going to get into that as we start out. 9 police officers on suspensions. Cop wants UK assistance to tackle inside corruption in the DPP's office. Judges, they say, need proper security support, says Scatliff Esprit, and former governor openly undermined sitting governments. The COI has been told, of course, when we look on the international scene, CXC inks deal with the U.S. University to have CAPE qualifications recognized.
Big
a lot
deal.
going on. Yes, indeed. Beginning on our local scene here in the British Virgin Islands. Commissioner of Police Mark Collins has said he has some major concerns about the honesty, business interests, and the affiliation held by some of his police officers. The recently appointed commissioner made the disclosure during his Commission of Inquiry hearing on Wednesday, June 23rd, where he aired several of the concerns he observed since taking the role in April this year. Take a look.
Yeah, without a doubt. And actually, I think what I've been very keen to do since I arrived in office is to set out my stall in terms of standards and my expectations. And without going into the detail, I think I've started to do that over the last few weeks in office because I have got some concerns about some officers.
And what sort of concerns do you have?
Dishonesty. And I need to be very careful with my language here because, it's a small police force, but, on any given day, 80% of my officers will come to work and do a very good job and support and protect the communities. But I have got concerns about a number of officers in terms of their honesty, the way that they carry out business interests, the way that they interact with the public. And when I say the public, I mean with some criminal fraternity as well. So I've got some concerns, and that is why I want to review the professional standards and be very clear about what my standards and expectations are.
Now, on the matter, viewers, of indicted officers, the Top Cop said that so far almost 10 officers have been indicted, and he expects that the number will increase very soon. He said he intends to address some of these concerns by reviewing and amending the current professional standards within the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force. Listen in.
Well, I've got 9 officers that are suspended from the force, Commissioner.
And those are referred to in the position statement.
9 officers that are suspended at the moment, interdicted. Nearly all of those, if not all of them, will be facing court cases. There'll be more to come. There are other investigations ongoing at the moment. So the system I have is, depending on the degree of the level of criminality, it can either go to the Professional Standards Department, my Deputy Chief Constable or Deputy Commissioner, who actually, I give the authority to be the appropriate authority under my discretion, or depending on the level of the matter, I would need to go outside of the territory, potentially to the National Crime Agency or another overseas territory to assist me in an investigation.
Now, viewers, the Commissioner of Police said he hopes this initiative would rid the Rural Virgin Islands Police Force of all its questionable officers to allow for a more transparent and accountable policing in the territory of the Virgin Islands. Kudos to the latest Commissioner of Police in the BVI for his step in the absolute right direction.
Absolutely, and calling it for what it is. There is
Indeed.
corruption internally. We've seen that with the recent and one of, I think, the biggest, absolute biggest drug bust
Correct.
in the history of the Virgin Islands, accounting for 2/3 of our annual budget. So just really speaking to the magnitude, and we have to, in order to address it, continue to call it out. And I'm really happy to see the Commissioner here taking the bull by its horn and doing what's necessary. As we move on, the Whistleblowers Act, certainly something we've been talking about for quite a number of years. Well, the whistleblowers in the Virgin Islands may no longer have to worry about acts of victimization following the recent passing of the legislation, which legally protects persons from such acts. Now, a whistleblower can be defined as a person, usually an employee, who exposes information or activity within a private, public, or government organization that is deemed illegal, illicit, unsafe, or a waste, fraud, or abuse of taxpayer funds. Now, the Whistleblower Act 2021 was passed in the House of Assembly on Thursday, June 17th, and now awaits the assent of the governor before it can become law. Now, mover of the legislation was Premier Foy, who said that the act further strengthens good governance in this territory. Listen in.
The whistleblower legislation is very simple in nature. It adds another layer to the good governance. And, Mr. Speaker, it offers persons who report acts of impropriety in public affairs whistleblower protection from victimization by the employer, fellow employees, or any other person as a result of making a disclosure. And victimization can include where the employee is dismayed, suspended, declared redundant, denied promotion, transferred against their will, harassed, intimidated, threatened, or discriminated against.
Navier's Premier Foy also said that the legislation will provide avenues for victimized whistleblowers to explore, which will allow them the requisite options to seek solutions. Listen in.
Whistleblower also who has been victimized or learns of a likely subjection to victimization because a disclosure has been made, may in the first instance make a complaint to the Complaints Commissioner, who shall investigate and make orders to rectify the situation as necessary. The whistleblower who is subjected to victimization can seek redress from damages in the High Court and may be entitled to police protection if there is reasonable cause to believe that there is a threat to them, their property, or family members, Mr. Speaker.
Now, the government also recently passed the Contractor General Act 2021, another piece of legislation which, of course, improves good governance in the territory. Now, Ron, as we continue to be cross-examined, this territory that is, by the Commission of Inquiry that is currently ongoing, I think one of the things that's being called into existence is good governance. The people of the BVI, the institutions, the officials, they are all being held accountable. And I think in a light that has never been seen before. For the first time in a very long time, we are seeing these legislations coming forward. One of the things about our community and a plus about, of course, living in a closely knitted community is that we know each other very well. And it's really hard to essentially be a snitch. But in this case, especially when it comes to the people business, it is imperative that we have laws that support transparency and not only holding the government accountable, but in order for us to do so, we must have legislations that will protect the people in the event that they do so.
Jovan, I'm happy to hear that you raised the issue of a small community, because that has worked for us and also against us, not only in this particular incident, but we see when it comes to law enforcement all across the territory. Our law enforcement officers continue to plead with the general public to come forward with information. And as a result of us being such a small and close-knit community, we see persons not wanting to come forward with information. I'm happy to see the Whistleblower Act come to this point, but I'd also like to employ our lawmakers to stick and to hold the legislation and their actions when it comes to the legislation accountable. It's all well and good for us to have legislation.
To pass it, but
the BVI is lauded with legislations. As a matter of fact, this year during the FOIA administration, we've had perhaps the most legislations passed to date. But are we sticking to those legislations? Are we holding ourselves accountable to them? And are we making sure that what they say is exactly what we abide by? I think that's the true test of our culture and our government.
We have to enforce it without a doubt.
Exactly.
And I think this is the time. We are at a pivotal point, and certainly this is the time. Now, viewers, still ahead of the break, the government launches a COVID-19 income support program for persons affected by the pandemic. And we also see the Rotary Club of Tortola. They installed Eon S. Smith as their new president and new board of directors as well. We have all the details and so much more right after this commercial break. Stick with us.
Is business slow, cash flow down, hosting an upcoming event? We can help. Advertise with 284 Media and take your business or event to the next level by enhancing your present marketing and messaging strategies. Allow our team of experts to create a personalized ad that sets your business apart from all the rest. This could be your business or event. So, what are you waiting for? Contact our marketing team at 284media@cctbvi.com. Advertising with us works.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man to take care of me.
How may I assist you?
Yes.
You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Viewers, welcome back to 284 News. Now, more local headlines. We do see the government of the Virgin Islands launching a COVID-19 income support program, which is geared towards supporting vulnerable individuals and families experiencing economic hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, this was revealed in a media release from the Ministry of Health and Social Development, which said that the initiative was jointly implemented by the Social Development Department, the World Food Program, and, of course, our very own Caribbean Cellular Telephone, CCT. Now, the ministry also said that the program includes support from the UN COVID Response and Recovery Fund, the United Nations Resident Coordinator Office for Barbados, as well as the Eastern Caribbean Multi-Country Office, end of quote. Now, speaking on the initiative was Deputy Social Development Officer and Program Lead Coordinator Stacey Stout James, who explained that the program is a temporary cash transfer initiative that will offer support to those persons who would have experienced a loss, reduction, or termination of employment due to COVID-19. She said, and I quote, "We recognize that persons may need specific assistance, so we have offered a few options in this regard. We would like that when registration opens, that is on June 28th, that persons have all the necessary documentations ready and are at hand so that they can either WhatsApp to assigned numbers, email, or upload the same to complete their applications in a timely manner. And of course, incomplete applications will not be accepted," end of quote. Now, viewers, the ministry also outlined the criteria that interested persons must fulfill in order to be deemed eligible for the program. The ministry said, and I quote, "Eligible persons must be BVI citizens, belongers, or valid work permit or work permit exemption holders. In addition, applicants must meet the following criteria, which is to be continually employed within the territory from September 1, 2019 to March 11, 2020, be currently unemployed or underemployed, which is less than 35 working hours, be available to work, be between the ages of 17 and 65 years old, and have not received assistance from the BVI Social Security unemployment or underemployment benefit, and have not received support throughout the government-led COVID-19 income support programs, including support provided by the elected representatives, end of quote. Now, viewers, the ministry further outlined a number of guidelines for qualified applicants to follow to allow the proper submission of documents. These include the submission of termination of service or layoff forms from previous employers. If such forms are unavailable, applicants are advised to submit a termination letter or note including contact information of the employer. Now, also in the media release, we also saw specifics outlined for self-employed applicants who are termed to be the only employee of the business payroll with no other person being employed. That letter said, and I quote, self-employed applicants must submit a valid trade license in addition to any of the following: the last 3 business receipts, which demonstrates purchases related to their business from February to March 2020, any relevant association membership letter such as the BVI Chamber of Commerce, or any documentation which demonstrates that they have worked in the relevant sector as a a self-employed person. For example, a certificate of good standing, such as the Social Security Board certificate or Inland Revenue certificate. And there's lots of information as well regarding informal workers. And as it relates to the registration process, people are being asked to present 2 registration options. The first is through the government's website, and the second by telephone, which a number will be forthcoming, according to the Ministry of Social Development. Now, registration, as we mentioned, viewers, begins on June 28th and run until July 9th on Mondays to Fridays between the hours of 8 and 5 p.m. Ron, I think a big game changer for so many persons who continue to suffer at the hands of this pandemic. Clearly, the stimulus that was implemented by government was only able to go so far, and many persons fell through the loopholes. A lot of persons are still suffering, still reaching out to representatives day in, day out. When we look at nonprofit organizations such as FSN and other sister organizations, it is clear that, just recently, Alexander Durant, who is assisting in her own private efforts, she referenced the term silent poverty. And I think it really speaks to the magnitude of what's happening in the BVI. So I'm really happy to see this. What we do not know is what the allocation is. We do not know how much government has set aside for this specific program, but we're trusting that persons who really need the help will be able to get it.
I believe we are trusting. As you said, the stimulus did not go as far as many persons would have liked, but it did help, and we're happy to see another initiative come to the forefront. Continuing on in grand style at the Sugar Mill Hotel on Saturday, June 19th, the Rotary Club of Tortola installed Mr. Ian S. Smith as president for the Rotary year 2021, June 30th, 2022. Now, the event was one of celebration of the accomplishments of the previous Rotary year under the leadership of immediate past President Dion A. Stout and outgoing board, as well as laying out the plans for the upcoming year. The incoming board and I are honored to receive the mantle of leadership of the Rotary Club of Tortola for the 2021-2022 Rotary year from President Dion and his board, and we congratulate them on an outstanding year that culminated in numerous awards at the recently concluded district conference. Mr. Smith said. President Smith also stated, and I quote, "I'm blessed that the club has selected an impressive group of experienced and dedicated Rotarians to serve on the incoming board. The mix is that of youth, vigor, experience, and knowledge. This board has readily accepted the responsibilities before it and pledges to lead the club and execute our strategic plan and stated goals," now which were presented, of course, to the club on May 27, 2021, and to ensure that our limited resources are marshaled for the greatest good in the community we serve. The Rotary Club of Tortola has honored 2 club members with Paul Harris Fellows, immediate past president Michael Kilorty for his years of service as president, and past president Lynette Harrigan for her invaluable and timeless work with helping visitors and returning residents to navigate the entry protocols of the BVI. 2 persons were presented with Community Paul Harris Fellow Awards, Mr. Andre Brathwaite for his 27 years of service, and of the then BVI High School after ESHS with youth leadership and inspiring young people through music and ministry. Mr. Regis Borden was also received a Community Paul Harris Fellow for his work with Adopt a Roof program after Hurricanes Irma and Maria, and in addition to that, a meal program where he did on average 100 meals a day for children. The Paul Harris Fellow is an award named after the founder of Rotary that recognizes work that serves humanity. Now, some of the major projects viewers of the Rotary Club of Tortola for this Rotary coming year include continued support, financial and technical, for Youth Arms, Rotaract, Interact, Early Act, and our sponsor schools, of course, sponsoring a major educational forum for adolescents. They're supporting Rotary Foundation through various avenues and initiatives, cleaning up and completing the mangrove boardwalk, as well as developing a mangrove nursery at Paraquita Bay. They also plan to collaborate with more of the other Rotary clubs and nonprofit organizations on community service projects. One such proposed project is the J.R. O'Neill Botanic Gardens. Continued support to the Family Support Network, Safe Haven, and Youth Empowerment Center through the year. Now, support for the Sound Therapy Family Program that's equipping minds cognitive development curriculum in partnership with social development, increasing their membership, each one bring one, in the line with RI and district goals. In addition to that, support the District 7020 hand wash initiative by supporting a well in Haiti. In addition to that, their quarterly video to promote and educate the public about Rotary and Rotary Club of Tortola. They plan to promote green initiatives to be more environmentally friendly. And above all, the projects will greatly impact the improving of the lives of the people of the BVI while promoting more fellowship among members. At the installation, the club raised over $10,000. Much of will go to the Haiti hand wash program. Now, Rotary International Viewers is a voluntary organization for business and professional leaders who provide humanitarian service and, of course, help to build goodwill and peace in the world. There are approximately 1.2 million Rotary clubs and members belonging to more than 33,000 Rotary clubs in more than 200 countries and geographical areas. The Rotary Club of Tortola was chartered on the 5th of January in 1968 by 20 founding members as required by the Rotary International, the sponsorship club of the Rio Piedras Rotary Club of Puerto Rico. Again, a great year ahead for Rotary Club of Tortola as they continue to support and really bring to fruition the art of service, not only in the BVI, but across the region and the world. Viewers, up next, Scarrett, Malone, Smotherland, and Kashore. Deaths still remain, believe it or not, inconclusive, says the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force, and Governor Rankin is speaking out against some government-approved contracts and waivers. We have the details of all this and so much more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News. Brilliant Hands and Minds Tutoring Services, one-on-one tutorials in math and English, intense homework assistance, academic enrichment, school projects, effective communication and public speaking development, sign language for adults and children on Saturdays only. Registered with the Virgin Islands High School Certificate Program, Brilliant Hands and Minds can help you too. Offering intense curriculum-based training to help you or your loved ones get their high school diploma. It's time to make your family's education a #1 priority. Hurry, space is limited. Brilliant Hands and Minds Learning Center. We are the trained education professionals.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.
Viewers, welcome back. Thank you so much for sticking with us. Continuing on the local scene, the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is classifying 4 of the recent deaths as inconclusive following lengthy investigations by its crime division. Autopsy reports and full inquiries into the causes of death in the cases of Franklin Malone, Andrew Scarrett, Walden Kashore, and Ryan Smotherland have not revealed any evidence that any other person had been physically involved in bringing about the individual's demise. Now, in such cases, Detective Inspector Vernon LaCroix says the coroner will make the final determination. He said, and I quote, "Upon conclusion of these investigations, a file is submitted to the coroner's office, who will make the final determination. The coroner will direct any further actions in these cases in order to be satisfied that no other person participated in bringing about the deaths of these individuals. However, any new evidence which may surface will be treated with urgency and resolve." Now, the detective inspector noted Malone's body was found in the waters of Fat Hawks Bay in November of last year in Skerrit. His body was found in his home in Carrot Bay in early February of this year with a single gunshot wound, they say. The body of Kashura was found in the waters near the Valerie Thomas Community Center in Seacoast Bay in late February 2021, and his hands and feet loosely tied. And of course, the body of Smotherland was found in the waters near Village Key at the end of April. I know, Jovan, this is not the closure that many of our families wanted to hear, but these are the reports of the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force.
Certainly, and I'm not even sure what to make of this, especially the young man who was found with his hands and feet bound. So definitely a hard pill to swallow in this report, but we have to go with what the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is saying. As we move on and close out on today's newscast, the approval of some contracts and waivers by the Cabinet of the Virgin Islands has been deemed troubling by Governor John Rankin. Governor Rankin made the disclosure in his recently submitted position statement to the Commission of Inquiry, where he raised a number of concerns regarding some of Cabinet's procedures. Rankin, who is responsible for chairing each Cabinet meeting, said, and I quote, "There have been a number of occasions in which Cabinet has agreed to waive tenders in awarding contracts, which in my view have not involved exceptional circumstances justifying departure from the general procedures under the Public Finance Management Act. On other occasions, it is not clear that contracts have been awarded under any proper procedure or with any cost-benefit analysis. Example, the Easy Shipping Radar contract, which is to the best of my knowledge, was not agreed by either the Joint Task Force or the National Security Council prior to signature," he further explained. Now, Governor Rankin viewers also raised concerns on some of the appointments approved by Cabinet, which he views as questionable. He said, and I quote once again, "There have been a number of appointments agreed by Cabinet where, in my view, it is doubtful whether the selected candidate has the requisite qualifications for the job and or where the political connections of the individuals lead to concern that the individual may have been selected for inappropriate reasons," end of quote. Now, viewers, the governor also said that he observed several risks of conflict among some of the individuals who are presently sitting in high position in the public sector. He said, and I quote, "There are also a number of individuals who sit on several different public boards with a high risk of potential conflict. All candidates for selection of boards and statutory bodies should be required to declare any potential conflict of interest, as should those responsible for appointing them. Example, if candidates or family members or business associates," he added. Now, Governor Rankin had earlier flagged several other deficiencies observed within Cabinet's system of governance since taking office in late January 2021. Now, Ron, I know the Governor Rankin, just came in just a short few months ago, but based on what we're seeing, very vocal as he made clear. Yes, he is the chair of the Cabinet sessions, but he is not afforded a vote in these decisions. And so he's bringing to the forefront some of the decisions that he has seen within his presence there that he's not necessarily happy about, and hoping that as a territory we can correct them.
Well, vocal he should be, as he's sitting on there, and as you said, he does not have a vote in that, but he's observing and seeing. And I think what he's saying is no surprise to the territory. Every time the Cabinet decisions come out, we wonder and we question as residents where the conflict of interests go, because it's very obvious and very blatant. So we hope that something could become of it.
All right, viewers, I think that is all the time we have for today. As usual, you can check us out for more content on our website. That is 284media.com. If you're on Facebook, we're there at 284media. Instagram and Twitter at 284BVI. My name is Javon Wilson.
And I'm Ron Grant. Have a good rest of the day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.